If Oscar Pistorius can make up this alibi for killing his girlfriend, anybody could kill anybody in any bathroom thinking they were an intruder. Think about it. What an excuse. Now, here's the problem here is that people are going to have a hard time empathizing or understanding what it was like to be him with no legs. And there is a part of them that's sympathetic towards him for his leg problems. So it's going to be hard for people to walk in his shoes. And so he is riding on the sympathy of other people. And maybe he's done this in the past as a younger person. And people felt sorry for him. And so he's using that as a justification to explain that it was okay to murder somebody. Well, it's not. And he feels that just because he made a mistake that it's okay and he shouldn't go to jail. This girl has lost her life forever because of his stupidity. Anybody in the right mind, if he had two normal legs, think about it. Would anybody think he even had a shot to get through this if he went and killed someone and he had two regular legs? That would not be an excuse for a normal person. But because he's an amputee, people can't directly empathize with what he was thinking inside. So therefore, his rationale is it's tough to invalidate because people have a hard time getting inside of his shoes. And to convict him is going to be tougher because there are people that will say to themselves that they can't understand what it would be like to be him. But if you think about it, it's that much harder for him to go to the bathroom and kill someone. Think about it. If you had no legs and a gun right by your side, you could lay there knowing that you have your gun there. If anybody comes out, you've got your gun. What better position could you be in? Number two is if you have your slider open, that doesn't show that you're afraid of robbery and crime. That is the greatest thing you could ever do that invalidates any fears of robbery or crime, to have your slider open. So to close it in the middle of the night is pathetic. So, and to go in the bathroom looking for someone is even more pathetic. If the slider was open, you would think that he would ask her to close it because she has two normal legs. If you do get up and close it, and you didn't put your legs on, you would know that she was in the bed, and then you would go back to the bed to get back in bed and see that she wasn't in there and know that she is in the bathroom. If your significant is not in the bed, you assume she's in the bathroom. That's a normal thought process. So why is that so hard for this guy to figure out everybody else? And if he can get away with justifying a murder by killing someone in the bathroom and blaming him on him thinking they were an intruder, anybody can get away with that. What a fallacy. What a bad thing for this world if this thing goes through and he gets off on such a stupid idea here. Not to mention, he fired 4 shots. And when he fired one shot, you know she screamed or said something, and he heard, and he kept shooting. So you know it was not a mistake. That's a validation right there. It doesn't matter if he was on his stumps or on his prosthetic legs. It does not make a difference, and I don't know why they're making it, assuming that he was wearing them, and then that's becoming something they're poking a hole in to discredit them. It's really irrelevant. So, anyway, and then she has her bag and her thing on the one side of the bed, and that's the same side as the revolver holster. He said that she slept on that side only that night because he had a problem with his shoulder. Well, if he was so worried about murder and crime, why didn't he put that weapon on his side of the bed? Wasn't too worried about it then, was he? So there's so many reasons why this is a load of crap. That she had cell phones in that water closet, that toilet area with her. Why did she have several cell phones? Probably out of fear. And why would anybody go and try and... Why would anybody who is an intruder hide it in a small bathroom? And he cannot claim to be mentally ill because of all of his accomplishments. So therefore, you could argue the guy's paranoid. He's like demented, sick. You can't claim that. That's the only thing I could think of. He is sick. He's sick and he's twisted. And his excuses hold no weight whatsoever. And if this case is won and he's free, this is going to be a bad precedent for others, where anybody can kill anybody in a bathroom and say that they thought that it was an intruder. How ridiculous is that? Just because he's got two stumps and he has no legs, people are giving him credibility because they can't see things through his eyes directly right now. But they have to not give him direct sympathy, but just evaluate on its own merit and not go on sympathy and empathy. Because anybody in their right mind would not jump up to check on someone if they have two legs that don't work, and be on two stumps. They would get their girlfriend to look with that. If nothing else, you're laying there, you've got a gun, you don't need to jump up. Why do you leave your door open if you're worried about crime? And what burglar would hide in a small water closet? They would come out. Before you shoot anybody, you think you would check the bed to make sure. It only takes 10 seconds to go over the bed and make sure. He didn't do that. He would rather shoot and kill before he looked. He is responsible for what he did. After he shot once, she screamed, I'm sure. That's what people would do if they're shot. Or he would say something to her. Well, she probably had screamed and he kept shooting 4 times. Why did he end up busting the door down? If he thought it was her, if he thought it was an intruder, he would have run out of the house, or put his leg on and get out of the house if he thought there was an intruder in there. When he looked out and saw that there was no one in the bed, that did not presume that it was her in the bathroom. He says that it presumed that it didn't. That implicates him right there, that he knew it was her in there. If he indeed made shots, and then he made the mistake of thinking that it was her, if he made shots thinking it was an intruder, and then looked out and saw no one was in the bed, that doesn't mean that she was in the bathroom. It could have meant that he made shots and she got scared and she ran out of the house. Another reason why he's implicated. He is so guilty, and I hope to God that the jurors and the judge do not feel sympathy or empathy for him and let him off based on this, because this will set a huge precedent where people can kill people in bathrooms and say they thought they were intruders. I'm sitting here on the toilet and I cannot believe this. I better get up because I'm afraid someone's going to shoot through this door thinking I'm an intruder, so I got to get going.